Trey Lance and the Niners get Deebo Samuel to stay, watch out, all caps. Lance will take this offense to another level with his ability to push the ball downfield and extend plays with his legs. Deebo, Kittle, Ayuk, Mitchell, Gray, and Juszczyk, man, he knows all the people on this team. Give Lance a lot. I like that. All the horsepower he needs. What do you think of this from RG3, who is a surprisingly good football analyst?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. It's coming from him, being that he knows Kyle Shanahan. He knows the offense. I think that gives him a special insight. And this tweet actually came after he did an interview with Matt Maiocco. And if you guys haven't read that, you should read it. A lot of cool information regarding Kyle Shanahan, some stuff that, it kind of makes sense based on what we know about Kyle Shanahan. But he said things like, I guess there was a play once where RG3 scrambled. He didn't read the play correctly. He scrambled for a 74-yard touchdown. And the next day, Kyle Shanahan said, hey, you should have hit that out pattern and took the 10 yards and moved on to the next play, which is super revealing. It kind of fits the form that we're used to with Kyle Shanahan. RG3 went on to say that he wanted to control everything. And being that he drafted Trey Lance, to him, that shows that there's some kind of growth taking place with Kyle Shanahan. He said he's more comfortable with players like Jimmy Garoppolo, Matt Ryan, where he knows they're just going to do what he asks. They're not going to make any plays off the cuff. But that maybe now he recognizes that having a talented quarterback like RG3 or Trey Lance could be beneficial. So hopefully that's the case. And as far as his tweet, if Trey Lance if he can be as good as Jimmy Garoppolo and then add the run game, being able to avoid sacks, roll out, hit the play action passes, the deep threat, I think he's correct.
Yeah, to me, like both Shanahans, Kyle and Mike, have had this complex Mike going back 20 years, because Mike won 3 Super Bowls, 2 as a head coach, but he's not going to make it in the Hall of Fame because no one gives him credit because he won with John Elway. Now, even when he won, it was more of a Terrell Davis team. That's what Mike Shanahan would say. I mean, John Elway was old. Still, everyone looks at those accomplishments as more of John Elway's accomplishments than Mike's. And I think ever since then, I could be wrong, but I feel like Mike and Kyle now, they've been looking for quarterbacks where they could take the credit. And Jimmy was perfect for that. It's like, oh, Jimmy put up good numbers. Jimmy won. Yeah, but it was really all Kyle. And that was the narrative for 5 years. And I think he likes that. I think he had that narrative in Atlanta. I mean, Matt Ryan was the MVP that year, but no one looked at Matt Ryan as the best quarterback in the league. It was a testament to Kyle, but he didn't win the Super Bowl. And he's never proven, neither coach has proven, Kyle or Mike, that their scheme is so great that they can take a mid quarterback, the 15th best quarterback or the 20th best quarterback in the league and win a Super Bowl. I think they wanted to prove that. I think they failed. And I think Kyle, to his credit, before he turned 45, realized that he needs to adjust.
Yeah, and RG3 mentioned that too. That a quarterback like Trey Lance can not only get you to the Super Bowl, but he has the potential to help you win the Super Bowl, something that Kyle Shanahan has yet to do, getting there with Matt Ryan and Jimmy Garoppolo.
True, but the thing is with Kyle, like, to RG3's point, let's say Trey Lance passes up the 10-yard out, which is open, and extends the play, and something better happens. Well, Kyle didn't draw that up. That's not scheme. Who gets the credit for that? Trey. And I think Kyle and his dad have been the kind of coaches that want the credit, maybe to a fault. So hopefully Kyle's over that, because the credit's going to come from picking Lance, developing Lance, empowering Lance. I mean, no one says Andy Reid's not that good because Mahomes is carrying him. Like, he developed Mahomes. He spotted Mahomes. He gets all the credit for Mahomes, even when Mahomes basically kills the play mid-play and makes it his own. Who cares? That's what you want him to do. That's where the big plays come from. It's like Kyle saying to a quarterback, hey, man, I want you to go in there and take the contested layup and pass up the open 3 in transition. Like, no, just let Steph Curry take the open 3 in transition and say thanks for having Steph Curry.
Yeah, and I think ego is particularly a problem with a lot of coaches in general at all levels. You see it in high school. You see it in college. You definitely see it in the NFL, and you see it with Kyle Shanahan. I think the best coaches are the ones that can put their ego aside. And I think, as Kyle matures, he's still relatively young. I don't know what he is. He my age, or how old is he?
He's 40. I think he's born in 79, so going on 43.
Also, I'm born in '79 also. So, I can definitely see him maturing. I'm a lot more mature than I was 10, 20 years ago. So hopefully he's growing past that. But I think ego has definitely played a part in his shortcomings as a coach.
Yeah, I would say so. And I wonder, is this really a indication that he's gotten over his ego, or did he want Mac Jones? And did the entire world say no, you can't have Mac Jones? He's like, all right, fine, I'll go with Trey Lance, but this might take 5 years. He still hasn't really given the full vote of confidence to Trey Lance yet. So I still wonder. I think the whole world wonders where Kyle Shanahan's coming from with this. But the fact that RG3 is saying this and he knows Kyle, I think some people might think, well, maybe talk to Kyle. I mean, the fact that he name dropped like 7 people on the offense and one of them was Danny Gray, who's a 3rd round pick. How would RG3 know who the hell Danny Gray is unless he talked to someone? So that's a good sign, I think.
Yeah, RG3 is to me, he's a very smart analyst. He's also been a fan of Trey Lance for a while. He's been speaking out positively on Trey Lance when other people were not. And I'm a big fan of RG3 as an analyst, even more so than when he was a player. I think he's very sharp.
I think he's very sharp too. Last thing before we move on, he put out a list today of the 5 quarterbacks he would want to build a team around, which is a phenomenal concept. He put Lamar Jackson number 1, which I wasn't expecting. But you could argue that really, he's been in the same freaking Greg Roman offense for 3 years. Look at Kaepernick's numbers. They consistently got worse with Greg. Maybe it's Roman, man. Maybe he just has some tendencies that coaches figure out over time, and he doesn't change enough. So maybe there's something to that, although I take Mahomes.
I definitely would not take Lamar Jackson as my number 1 quarterback to build around. And it's no knock on Lamar Jackson. The dude is super talented. He's a hell of an athlete. He's got an arm. He throws better than people give him credit for. But the thing about him and Kaepernick, which I'm not so sure I'm going to blame Roman as much. Kaepernick and Lamar Jackson have one thing in common, is that they look to run a lot more frequently than like a Trey Lance. Or a Mahomes, whereas they use their speed and their athleticism to avoid sacks and to extend plays. Those guys look to take off and run. And if you know that that's what they're going to do, you can plan defenses around that. And so I think part of what happened with Kaepernick is they just kind of figured him out after 2 or 3 years.
And that's what I feel like might be happening with Lamar. And to your point, using your legs to look to run, the byproduct of that is a lot of sacks. Like Lamar gets sacked a lot, or at least he did last year. Kaepernick got sacked a ton. And also, like, you running, I mean, sometimes you get big plays from that. Those two would have big chunk plays, but a lot of times it's 10 yards. Yeah, it's a first down. It's good. But what you really want is to use your legs to extend the play to throw downfield. I mean, I've seen Russell Wilson do it for a decade. And all he had to do was be good enough in the pocket so that those 4 or 5 times when he would get out and throw deep, man, if he hit 2 of those, he won that week. And he often did against the Niners. So to me, and Kaepernick didn't necessarily play that way. Lamar doesn't necessarily play that way. I think Lance does. I think he wants to extend the play to throw. And
do you really want to build a team, a franchise around a quarterback that is running so much? I mean, that's a formula for disaster. And I really hope Kyle Shanahan turns that down, versus what we saw in Arizona with Trey Lance. If Trey Lance is running that much, that scares the hell out of me, because who's up next? Nate Sudfeld?
It's true. I mean, you're treating him like he's Lamar Jackson or Tim Tebow. Whoa. I see him more as a Carson Wentz, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott type, in the sense that, very, very mobile, very light on his feet, but looking to throw, to use his legs to throw. And that's the best way to be a quarterback, a mobile quarterback, in my opinion.
Trey Lance is the future of this franchise. You have to protect him. They cannot be running him like they were in Arizona or with what they do in Baltimore with Lamar Jackson. I'm not signing up for that.
No, what I like about Lance, and we'll move on, is, again, forget the zone read. You can use that on the 7-yard line to get a touchdown once a game if you need it, but you're going to get a steady diet of play action bootlegs. And when you get him out in the perimeter, he gets out there so fast, and he's looking for, even if it's not a bootleg, just escaping the pocket, moving to the perimeter. His first instinct is to throw the ball down the field. Big play action. If it's not there, the big play, you can always scramble for 10 yards. That's your check down. And I think he has for a guy who hasn't played much football, I think he's going to have a very good feel for that. And that's the kind of quarterback I like.
And one more thing about that, with bootleg and the play action, he's safer, right? Yeah. Especially with a line that's a questionable line that we know nothing about.
Yep. Get him the hell out of the pocket. And I really feel, I like talking football philosophy. I really feel that you want to get your quarterback out of the pocket as much as possible, unless, of course, you have Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, or Drew Brees. And the reason those three are so great is because passing from the pocket is so hard, and they actually made it an advantage to them. I think every other quarterback in the league, the advantage is defense because they can disguise their coverages when you're in the pocket. They can do blitzes. They can do stunts. I mean, there's so many different things they can do. Once the quarterback's out of the pocket, forget zone coverage. Everyone plasters up. There's nothing you can really do to get funky with your pass rush. It's just chasing. At that point, it's just backyard football, and the defense is on their heels. And the longer the play goes, the more they're on their heels. So, yeah, I mean, Tom Brady, the fact that he can do what he does without moving is why he's the greatest of his generation. But still, you can take a quarterback who's not a Hall of Famer like Jalen Hurts. You get him outside in the perimeter, big plays. I want that because he's only one Tom Brady. If you don't have Tom Brady, what you gonna do? You gonna have Matt Ryan and pretend he's Tom Brady? No, he's gonna get sacked a lot. No,
yeah, moving outside the pocket, like to me, is kind of like what we saw in the NBA where they transitioned. They spread the floor with the three ball.
Same damn thing. Yes.
Right. And now that's what's happening with the NFL with getting outside the pocket.
Right. Like for decades, everyone thought in the NBA, you gotta go score in the low post. Yeah. You gotta throw from the pocket. Well, yeah, I mean, if you have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and he can do the sky hook, go to the low post. But it's been proven mathematically in basketball that that's less efficient. You actually want to take the 3-point shots. And I think they're going to figure out the same thing in football, that the average quarterback rating is higher when you get outside the pocket than when you're inside the pocket. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's going to bear itself out. All right,
at least bigger plays happen. That's for sure.